Ram Param vidyate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Total world victory of Hare Krishna. My name is Sitapati Das.
And my name is Danna Devi.
And this is Bhagavad-gita as it is, 231. Bhagavad-gita, the song of God, by His Divine Grace, at Bhagavad-gita as it is, by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Chapter 2, Observing the Armies, Contents of the Gita summarized. Traditional name Sankhya Yoga, text 31. Let's start with this mantra that I heard Gauravani chanting today.
Mm-hmm.
Om Gyanatimidandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Svadharmam Api cāvekṣya Na vikampitum arhasi dharmyād yuddhāt śreyo nyat kṣatriyasya na vidyate. Interesting. Mm-hmm. He's gone from na shochitum arhasi, it's not worthy, na tvam shochitum arhasi, not worthy of lament, to what is, what you should do, what you do deserve. Svadharmam.
Oh, one's own religious principles.
Api.
Also.
Cha.
Indeed.
Avekṣya.
Considering.
Yes. Na.
Never.
Vikampitum.
To hesitate.
Arhasi.
You deserve.
Dharmyāt.
From religious principles.
He.
Indeed.
Yuddhāt.
Of fighting.
śreyaḥ.
Better engagement.
Anyat.
Anything else.
Kṣatriyasya.
Of the kṣatriya.
Na.
Does not.
Vidyate.
Exist.
Translation. You want to read it, honey?
Sure.
Take it away.
Considering your specific duty as a kṣatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation. You have a saying about hesitation?
Anything worth doing is worth doing immediately. No, it's anything auspicious should be done immediately.
No, something about hesitation.
Hesitation? No.
Yeah, yes, like...
He who hesitates is lost. That's the classic saying about hesitation.
Something like when they... Oh, sorry, I'm diverting the conversation.
No, that's okay. What is it? I'm intrigued now.
Yeah, when they ask you why did you get married so fast, and you say something about along the lines, I don't know, but something hesitation, something I know, and there's no hesitation or something like that. There's a say that you use. Okay,
I can't remember what it is. It's been so long.
It's been a year.
Yeah. Might have been. It's something more about clarity.
Yeah, like you were so basically how we translate it, like you're so sure what you do, there's no hesitation about your choices or something like that.
Yeah.
About your choices.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's like now we're really digressing, but that's okay.
Okay, no, let's
It's
go.
like that pastime in the Mahabharata when Dronacharya takes the Pandavas out into the woods and he has them aim at a bird and a tree and he asks each of them what they see. You know that story?
Yeah.
And then he asks them and each of them says, I see the bird, the tree, the other trees. Next one, the bird, the branch that it's on. Next one, I see the bird, until he gets to Arjuna, and Arjuna says, I can see the eye of the bird. And he says, what else? And he's like, nothing else. So, ekaha kuru nandana, those whose intelligence, one pointed, it's resolute, the intelligence of the bahu Sakasyanantascha, those who the intelligence of the irresolute is many branched, those who are resolute, their aim is one. I can't remember the translation now. Ekaha kurunandana, one-pointed intelligence anyway. So, yeah, I mean, when it's the obvious thing, you just do it with full power. There's a period of time where you're evaluating what should I do. Then you get to the end of that evaluation and you make a call on what it is and you execute it 100%. You might only be 99% or 80% sure or whatever, but you're executing it 100% at that point. But sometimes some things are just so clearly obvious and there's no other contender in the category that you just go for it. Which is where Krishna will take Arjuna in this conversation. From being like, I don't know what to do, I'm confused, and then Krishna will take him to a place of clarity where he can again apply himself with 100%.
Yeah, that's like the left side of Arjuna's brain, which is basically the female part of the of the brain. No, but I'm doubting, but there's so many considerations and this, but no, I know, but and he was in that predicament, and bringing so many considerations and all of that. But here Krishna is saying,
Okay, let's go to the purport. Yeah?
See.
Okay.
Wow, that's a lot.
Oh, not that much. Do you want to do the first half here?
Okay.
Okay.
But I have to be a bit closer because my eyes,
Okay, no problem.
with that light, the
We've
light.
got a very bright light happening up here.
My eyes just like. Anyway, out of the 4 orders of social administration, the second order for the matter of good administration is called kṣatriya. Kṣat means herd. One who gives protection from harm is called kṣatriya. Trayate, to give protection. The kṣatriyas are trained for killing in the forest. A kṣatriya would go into the forest and challenge a tiger face to face and fight with the tiger with his sword. When the tiger was killed, it would be offered the royal order of cremation. This system is being followed even up to the present day by the kṣatriya kings of Jaipur state. The kṣatriyas are especially trained for challenging and killing because religious violence is sometimes a necessary factor. Therefore, kṣatriyas are never meant for accepting directly the order of sannyāsa or renunciation. Non-violence, I know, right? No renunciation for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Non-violence in politics may be a diplomacy, but it's never a factor of principle. In the religious law books, it is stated.
Powerful stuff. Stuff. Okay. Ahaveshu miton yonyam jigam santo mahikshitaha yudamana param shaktya svargam yantya paran mukha yagyeshu pashavo brahman hanyate satatam dvijay samskrita kila mantraischa tepi svargam avapnuvan. In the battlefield, a king or kṣatriya, while fighting another king envious of him, is eligible for achieving heavenly planets after death, as the brahmanas also attain the heavenly planets by sacrificing animals in the sacrificial fire. Therefore, killing on the battle, on the religious principle, and the killing of animals in the sacrificial fire are not at all considered to be acts of violence, because everyone is benefited by the religious principles involved. I can see 2 changes already that are corrections in this paragraph. Therefore, killing on the battle on the religious principle, killing on the battlefield on the religious principle, or killing on the battlefield on religious principles, and the killing of animals in the sacrificial fire are not at all considered to be acts of violence, because everyone is benefited by the religious principles involved. I think benefited should have 1 T. It could be optional. The animal sacrificed gets a human life immediately without undergoing the gradual evolutionary process from one form to another, and the kṣatriyas killed in the battlefield, maybe on the battlefield, also attain the heavenly planets, as do the brahmanas who attain them by offering sacrifice. It's all understandable, though. There are two kinds of svadharmas, specific duties. As long as one is not liberated, one has to perform the duties of that particular body in accordance with religious principles in order to achieve liberation. When one is liberated, one's svadharma, specific duty, becomes spiritual and is not in the material bodily concept. In the bodily conception of life, there are specific duties for the brahmanas and kṣatriyas respectively, and such duties are unavoidable. Swadharma is ordained by the Lord, and this will be clarified in the 4th chapter. On the bodily plane, swadharma is called varnashram dharma, or man's stepping stone for spiritual understanding. Human civilization begins from the stage of varnashram dharma, or specific duties in terms of the specific modes of nature of the body obtained. Discharging one's specific duty in any field of action in accordance with varnashram dharma serves to elevate one to a higher status of life. Okay. Is this from the Manu Samhita, one wonders?
Well, we have to go back to Srila Prabhupada's type.
Oh, he probably... Oh, maybe. Let's have a look. Does he mention where it's from? No. He doesn't mention where it's from. Now, the diff for this one's blowing up like the last one. This system has been followed even up to the present day by the Kṣatriya kings of Jaipur state. Change to this system is being. So this one is a present continuous. It uses the present tense of the verb to be along with the gerund form of the verb to be. Whereas this one...
it's in the past.
It is has been. So it's like a pluperfect tense. Was finished. No, pluperfect is like was finished. Has. No, so has is in the present. To have. It has been. So it's like a present past continuous. Been.
It's been.
Is being en este momento. And then has been is kind of like you know how in Spanish you have those two past tenses? You have a past, like a perfect tense, and an imperfect. So if I say I walked, I say caminé. And if I say like I was walking or caminaba, it's a continuous. And it includes, this is what my Spanish teacher told me. Man, I can remember this. This lesson in Ecuador in 2001 in the mountains. Dahlia was her name. Me and Brajadam are there, and she explains it to us like this. Caminaba also includes that it may or may not be happening now. Right? Isn't it? I could be saying, ayer caminaba en la calle y un tipo me acercó, ¿no? Yesterday I was walking in the street and someone came up to me.
Yeah, that's the past.
Yeah, that's definitely was in the past, right? But if I say caminaba cada día, it means like I walked every day, right? And that could mean that I also still now walk every day, right?
Caminaba. Caminaba means it's in the past.
It's definitely in the past?
Yeah, caminaba.
It cannot be in the present?
Caminaba cada día. That means...
I walked every day.
Yeah, you walk every day, but is it still happening or not?
But it's not certain, right? It's not clear. It doesn't mean it's definitely not or definitely yes. It's unknown, right?
But it's mostly refer
to the past.
To the past, yeah.
So this has been is exactly the same. It is in the past, and it leaves it unclear about whether it's happening today, and it almost kind of says that it hasn't. You know, it's in the past, so it's in the past. So similar, it's similar. Has been. So that's been changed to is being. Let's go and see in here. This system was being followed even up. What?
Even up to the date by kṣatriya.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, because it's a date, it says there.
Okay, so it was in the past. I mean, is it being followed by the Kṣatriya kings in the Jaipur state?
I don't think there's any more like kings in the kṣatriya state now. In Jaipur.
In Jaipur, and do they kill tigers by hand?
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing about this change, okay, these changes are unauthorized categorically.
Mm.
And it's becoming clearer from examining them that putting aside the propaganda and the hand-waving of closer to Prabhupada, that the actual editorial philosophy that's informing the editing here is an editor who was a junior editor in the edition of the first edition of the Bhagavad-gita, or the 72 Mac. So there was the 68, and then in the 72 Mac, Jayadvaita Swami was a junior editor, and he had his own ideas about how to edit it.
Oh my.
And let me just, for full disclosure, I actually when I read it and look at it as an editor, I actually have a lot of the same ideas as Jayadvaita when I look at it as an editor. But if I was going to edit it, I would do those edits and then show them to Srila Prabhupada and say, hey, did I get this right? Right? But what's happened is he was a junior editor on here. The senior editor, Hayagriva, didn't agree with his editorial choices or editorial slant. And so in 83, he had the opportunity to rewrite history and re-edit the whole book and do the Jayadvaita Swami remix. Basically the way he wanted the track to go. And that was unauthorized. He wasn't told to do that. He wasn't given permission to do that. So all of the edits are unauthorized. But the official propaganda about it is it's taking it closer to Prabhupada. But like we can see in this instance that it's not.
No,
Because in the first edition, Hayagriva has gone with, and this went through it, so Jayadvaita Swami was a proofreader, second editor. This system is being followed even up to the present day. Actually, what?
It's been followed, so that means it's still happening.
Oh, the original Macmillan is being followed. Okay, so in that case, this one has taken it closer to Prabhupada's manuscript. Jayadvaita Swami's edit has.
This system has been followed.
Yeah, has been followed. It takes it closer, but not quite.
Yeah, but I think that it's been followed. That means it's still continuing, isn't it? Has been followed. That means it is.
Yeah, it leaves it unclear, but slanting towards it's still going.
Yeah, but the other ones, it means it's happening right now in India.
Yeah.
And I would agree. I think that's in India.
But Srila Prabhupada says was being followed.
Was being, which is
was being followed is definitely in the past.
Yeah, was being followed. Even up to the date by the kṣatriya.
This is such a cool construction, so I'm just going to go grammar nerd here for a second.
Yeah, this was being followed up to.
Yeah, was being.
Even up to the date. So yeah, it's happening.
No, see, the was being puts it in the past. It means that it was being followed up to today, but now it's stopped. But it was being followed up to today. Oh man, just like this construction and these three different variations: is being, has been, and was being. So good. Been, has been, past participle, plus present tense, third person singular of the verb to be, and then here the third person was, so the perfect past combined with the gerund form of to be, was being. So it turns it into like a past continuous. Oh, English is amazing like that. There's the synthetic tenses. Anyway, that's me geeking out on that point. Okay, so down here. Okay, let's see if those changes on the battlefield. So on the battle to on the battlefield. On the religious principle changes to on religious principles. See, he has the same sense as me. And killing animals in the sacrificial fire, not at all considered to be, and then benefited, pretty sure that benefited got changed from 1T to 2. Everyone is benefited, yeah, got changed 1T. So those are changes that on the battle to on the battlefield, sure. On the religious principle, yeah, it's a bit kind of Indian English, the Krishna. But it says on religious principles instead of on the religious principle. Some hyphenation in here. But the biggest change, the big one, and this is actually part of a real conspiracy theory about the zonal acharya edition of the Bhagavad-gita, which I love how Forrester Hilton on Facebook, aka Yuga Avatar Prabhu, he's just like fully out there. He doesn't deny it. He's like, yeah, there was a big competition fight between devotees, God brothers, disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and my team won. The zonal acharyas, they won, and it's their Bhagavad-gita that won. He's just like straight up, this is the zonal acharya Bhagavad-gita. And he's not backing away from that 1 inch. He's like, yeah, deal with it. We won. I love that. I love it.
Which one? The second edition?
Yeah. Ugh. It's the zonal acharya Bhagavad-gita.
Well.
Here's the big thing here. Now, let's do this in the editions. Okay. First I'm going to present the conspiracy theory. Then we're going to do it like Unsolved Mysteries, Ripley's Believe It or Not, that kind of thing. Okay, it's here. Edition 1, discharging one's specific duty in any field of action in accordance with varnashram dharma serves to elevate one to a higher status of life. Right? Discharging one's specific duty in any field of action in accordance with varnashram dharma serves to elevate one to a higher status of life. Edition 2, discharging one's specific duty in any field of action in accordance with the orders of higher authorities serves to elevate one to a higher status of life.
Wow. Such a benefiting for just this, like...
Oh, this definitely is... The zonal acharya.
Yeah. It's like, we are the zonal acharya, and you're going to do whatever we say. You know what, zonal acharya? You're not actually an acharya. That's the problem. And this guy, what is it? The Yuga Avatar can defend his zonal acharya. You're not an acharya. Just follow what Srila Prabhupada said. He's the authority, nobody else.
Well...
He is the authority because he's following all his predecessors, like the other his teachers, and he's highly respectful of them, and he gives all the credit to them rather than just like taking I am this.
Okay.
I did this.
Okay, so I'm gonna build out that conspiracy theory a little bit more, right?
Okay.
They changed it from varnashram dharma to orders of higher authorities to do two things. In order to make it so that it's follow the zonal acharya, what we tell you to do. This is now the zonal acharya Gita. And also to suppress the establishment of varnashram dharma on earth. It's part of the demonic agenda to take varnashram dharma out of the mission.
Not only that, with this you can see these people are trying to control. That's the way of taking control of the devotees now.
Okay. So,
total control. Because this one, this Bhagavad-gita is a sacred book and you have to follow it as it is, And then guess what? They just apply this sentence, which means these guys just can do whatever they want. Hey, you devotees, naive or new people, zip it up, bow down, do as we say.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they say.
Exactly.
It's like, nah,
so.
No way.
Okay, so we're out here teaching the controversy, right? Now, you ready for this?
Okay.
You ready? Let's see what Prabhupada wrote in his manuscript.
Dun, dun, dun.
Exactly.
Okay.
Prabhupada wrote, to discharge one's specific duty in any field of action and as ordered by higher authority is the opportunity for being elevated to a higher status of life.
Right.
Oh!
Duty in any field of action as ordered by higher authority.
Yeah. So, he didn't say in accordance with varnashram dharma. Srila Prabhupada in his manuscript actually said in accordance with higher authority. So, Srila Prabhupada didn't really review the editing he had multiple layers of editors who were responsible for like checking and making sure, you know. He outsourced it, you know, because he would. Now, having said that, this is one narrative about it. Okay, that he just let them do it. So in that narrative, Hayagriva changes this, and then Jayadvaita Swami fails to catch it in his editing thing, and it goes to print like this. And then Prabhupada never corrects it, if you will.
But how do you know he never corrected?
Well, one thing we can do, right, is we can have a look at the transcripts of the classes. Transcripts. Transcripts of the Bhagavad-gita classes for chapter 2.
Well, I guess in this case, the higher authority for me, Srila Prabhupada is an authority. And his spiritual master is an authority. Krishna is an authority for me.
He's never given a class on it. Okay, so the point here is that in this case, you got it's intersectional. They've made the change here. It does take Varnashram Dharma out and then put in following higher authorities, which serves the agenda of the Zonlacharya period, right? He's gone and changed it towards the manuscript, but it's an unauthorized change, but it does seem to take it closer to Prabhupada. See, this is once you get into the realm of it, it's like, it's so confusing. What is clear, though, is making these changes without Srila Prabhupada's specific oversight and authorization, or a mandate from Srila Prabhupada, is unauthorized. Let's have a look at the annotated version.
The scribble.
Yeah, the scribble, as you call it. Okay, so we're going to have a positive, right?
So that part.
What it means is that here, if it says, therefore, kṣatriyas are never meant for accepting directly the order of sannyāsa or renunciation. Without the comma in there, it means the order of sannyāsa or renunciation, two different things. With the comma in there, it means the order of sannyāsa, or in other words, renunciation. Yeah, that's what that means. Killing in the battlefield on the religious principle. Still, the revised version more clearly conveys the intended meaning.
Intended meaning of who?
Of Srila Prabhupada, which he knows. Which, I would agree, because when I read it, I go, I'm pretty sure that the author meant to say on the battlefield rather than killing on the battle, right? Because killing on the battlefield is like practically a cliche, whereas killing on the battle is like a novel concept, and you're left like, did he mean to communicate something unfamiliar to me, or did he just get the idiom wrong? Yeah.
Pardon me. What are you doing there?
Spelling error, the benefited, okay. 2 times the svadharmam, hyphenation. Perform the specific. As long as one is not liberated, one has to perform the duties of that particular body. It has no antecedent. Yeah. So that should refer back to something which has been mentioned previously, but nothing was mentioned. As long as one is not liberated, one has to perform the duties of his particular body in accordance with religious principles. Perform the specific duty of the particular body. Okay. And then here's the biggie. The striking out of varnashram dharma and the insert of the orders of higher authorities. Original manuscript. Now the thing about this is that, see, this one is like it is a superposition, because he's taking out varnashram dharma and he's making it the orders of higher authorities. Now, of course, the conspiracy theory is that it's part of the coordinated campaign to thwart the establishment of varnashram dharma, to stay within the economic and social frame of the asuras, because Varnashram Dharma represents an existential threat to Western demonic civilization. And so we're going to take that out, and then we're going to turn these people into serfs and peons of the zonal acharyas by putting in the orders of higher authorities. Now, the thing about this is that I'm going to justify doing this on the basis of Srila Prabhupada's original manuscript. And you could look at it and say, oh, it's justified in that case, and the fact that it seems to serve this Asuric agenda and the zonal acharya agenda is like, it's a coincidence, and it has nothing to do with what's going on. The problem with that is that if all he did was make it closer to Srila Prabhupada's manuscript, then it would be like, okay, that's all that's happening here. But he chooses when he takes it closer to Prabhupada's manuscript and when he does not. Sometimes he'll completely override the manuscript, as he did here. He says the original manuscript said this, but my version more clearly conveys the intended meaning.
Therefore, killing in the battlefield of the religious principles.
Yeah.
On the religious.
In other words, here he's saying that going back to the manuscript is not the most important thing. Was there a conversation between Hayagriva and Srila Prabhupada about this? We don't know. Maybe, maybe not. We
Well,
could
I
even
guess
say
he was-
probably not.
I guess he was aligned with that because this is about Varnashram Dharma, right? And put in Varnashram Dharma, it's what is prescribed for this time.
Yeah, see, I can see, imagine, just hypothetical speculating. He's coming along, then he's like, oh, this is great. We can take out Varnashram Dharma and put in the orders of higher authorities. Perfect. Of course, he's probably not thinking that when he's doing it. But the point about that is, you know, what do you think Duryodhana was thinking on the battlefield? He wasn't thinking, I'm the bad guy.
Nobody thinks he's a bad person.
Yeah, nobody does, right?
Not even the abuser thinks, well, the narcissists, the abusers, the psychopaths, they don't think they're the abusers.
You
They
know the
think they're
person
righteous.
who does think that, who I really am a big fan of? Forgot to take that off. Vritrasura, the demon who fought against Lord Indra. In his previous life, he was King Chitraketu. And he got cursed by Parvati. And he came back as this demon, Vritrasura, and he fought against Indra. But he was fully liberated while he was doing it. That he was like, yeah, I'm the bad guy, but I'm not the bad guy because I'm not the body. It's epic. It's so good. Yeah. So anyway, there's a conspiracy theory that this was taken out to diminish Varnashram and to thwart the establishment and to establish the zonal acharya siddhanta and pragmatic execution in the Gita. But when we go and examine it, we find out that actually it does take it closer to Prabhupada. But he doesn't get to say that, oh, well, I'm taking it closer to Prabhupada. It's like, but the thing is, you only take it closer to Prabhupada when you want. And why did you want to take this one closer to Prabhupada? So now you can have another conspiracy theory about that. Anyway, all the changes of this kind of nature are unauthorized. And this is the exact reason why this is such a bad idea. Because you take something which people are like, this is the book. It's the book that Prabhupada touched to his forehead. It's the book that Prabhupada taught from. It's the book that Prabhupada printed over 1 million copies of it. You know, Prabhupada backed that book. And now you've turned into something else and you have introduced, a splotch of black ink onto a white sheet.
Can we go back to Srila Prabhupada?
Yeah. We just spent how long did we just spend talking about that? 40 minutes talking about the changes. But, it's kind of like, hey, maybe if you'd done a good job of actually annotating them and explaining them all, people wouldn't have to go through them. I spent 25 years reading this book, so I got no problem spending a year going through the thing like this. It's going to take us 1 to 1.5 years to do this. Every single day with 700 verses in the Bhagavad-gita.
Well, it's a service.
Exactly. What else are you going to do with your life, eh?
I don't know. Shoot monkeys.
Shoot monkeys. We can do this together.
Yeah. What else can I do?
Okay. Okay. It's about kṣatriyas, the administrative class. One who gives protection from harm is called kṣatriya, trayate, to give protection or to deliver from.
Sorry to tell you, but we don't have kṣatriyas.
Kṣatriyas are trained for killing in the forest. They go into the forest. I'm going to sneeze.
Oh no! Okay.
Thankfully, I was able to mute it in time.
This horrendous noise.
Kṣatriyas go into the forest. They're trained for challenging and killing because religious violence is sometimes a necessary factor. Bhagavad-gita is a treatise on the religious application of violence. It's what it is. There's no way that you can read Bhagavad-gita and come to the conclusion that, oh, we're non-violent. Non-violence in politics may be diplomacy, but it is never a factor or principle. Non-violence in politics may be a diplomacy. Yep, okay.
Diplomacy, that means duplicious. That comes from the word of Latin.
Diplomacy, the profession, activity, or skill of managing international relations, typically by a country's representatives abroad.
Yeah, but the word diplomacy, where does it come from? How is it formed?
Okay, late 18th century, from French diplomati, from diplomatique, diplomatic, on the pattern of aristocratie. Okay, but that doesn't help me. It needs to go deeper. Etymology. I need a... Anyway. Yeah, interesting. Okay, we're going to do it because I can't... Okay, the etymology. Mm-hmm. Etymology. This is one of my favorite places to come. Alright. Rising from the 1800s. Wow, it's become pretty big now, but let's have a look. Where did it come from? Diplomacy, meaning dexterity or skill in managing. Okay. It comes from diploma. So diplomatic. It means like carrying. Modern Latin diplomaticus, from Latin diploma, genitive diplomatis, official document conferring a privilege, diploma. So it comes from diploma, not duplicious.
No.
A specialized one, writing under seal. So diploma, a state letter of recommendation given to persons traveling to the provinces. Well, let's have a look at duplicity, right? Ooh. Medieval Latin, duplicitas, duplicitatum, doubleness, duplex, twofold, duplicis, twofold, from duo, from Proto-Indo-European root duo, two, plus plex, from plek, to plate, to plat, a double-minded, the treacherous son, the evil-minded, duplicious, diplos, double-minded, twofold, double, duplicious. So it comes from two. Diploma comes from meaning diplomatic, diplomacy. Okay, two totes different things. A diplomacy, never a fact or a principle.
I think I read it in Bhagavad-gita Swami's book about diplomacy. What does it exactly mean, diplomacy? I will look into that. I remember like diplomacy. Really? Okay. It's like a double. Never mind. I got there. Not right.
I mean, this is an interesting digression into how the meanings of words change through association.
Mm-hmm.
Diplomacy. Politics, diplomacy, fraud, cheating. See how these are all placed next to each other? It's due to their Diplomacy, envy, and jealousy were unknown to his heart. So it's taken a negative sense, just like politics has. But you know, politics comes from like polis, meaning the people.
You know what they say about politics?
What's that?
They're prostitutes.
Politicians.
Yeah, they prostitute their values for money.
Mm-hmm. Okay, back to the verse.
Sadly. Anyways. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Following a varnashram dharma. You know, we could finish with the verse here, do you think?
Okay, so what else are we, what's the take on message for this week about this? I mean, for today, from this verse.
Animals sacrificed in the sacrificial fire by brahmanas get a human life immediately.
Well, you know what? That was in the old times because the Brahmins were a bit more pure. And imagine these guys in saffron clothing, raping children, doing these fire yajnas and killing animals in the fire yajnas is like, would sound more like a black magic rather than a, being, for the benefit of the humanity. It's more about, I will be more against the well-being of human beings. It's more about selfishness, like, you know, I want to have this black magic done to benefit me and so and so. Yeah.
Wow, that's a whole world to go into there.
Yeah, there is a lot, because in some part of the Bhagavad-gita it says, you know, you have to when you do eat animals, you have to do this special mantra. And I'm sure all of these brahmana had special mantras to chant before taking the life of these animals.
Well, see, the thing is about re-establishing varnashram dharma, right? It's a question of which parts and how, we distinguish between Daivi varnashram dharma and just asuric varnashram dharma. But which parts, like, see, in here, if you look at this, it's talking about, like, killing on the battlefield, killing on the battle on the religious principle, and killing of animals in the sacrificial fire. Now, if you're going to say that the killing of animals in the sacrificial fire is not to be considered an act of violence, but that's only in the past because of the pure brahmanas, does that mean that the killing on the battlefield and the religious principle also belongs to the same historical milieu and is no longer, applicable now?
Well, the thing is, looking at the current situation where politics is actually selling the lives of people, it's not in the benefit of people defending their own people. They pretend they are defending or they're protecting people. You know, it's all about how much money they make and the fame. Imagine people dying on the battlefield. I don't think they're even fighting for religious principles.
Mm-hmm.
They actually...
They're definitely not.
No, they eliminating religious principles. They're doing their best at doing that.
But my question is, because you did the typical kind of maneuver, which is, the killing of the animals, that was in a previous age because the brahmanas were pure, right? So what you've done is you've taken this, the killing of animals in the sacrificial fire is not considered to be an act of violence because everyone's benefited by the religious principles involved, right? Mm-hmm. What you've done is you've taken this part of it here and you've consigned that to a historical context and you've said that this is no longer applicable in the present moment, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, look at the current situation.
But hang on a second.
Okay.
The killing of animals in the sacrificial fire, you're saying that it's because the brahmanas were so pure in the past, but not in today's environment.
No,
right?
no, not anymore.
Okay, so here's the thing. Mm-hmm. The second,
I believe.
No.
I believe they are not anymore because life will be completely different if they were so saintly.
But yeah, you don't have to.
I'm sure there are some nice brahmanas out there for sure.
Yeah.
But
you don't have to evaluate it or justify it.
No, I'm not justifying. I'm evaluating, for what I read before.
Sure,
how
but
the brahmanas used to do, the powers they used to have as a brahmanas.
Okay.
They give you a course you're done, and they do something that you just, But now brahmana.
I got it. Now,
Okay.
have a look at the implications of what you're saying, because what you just said there, every devotee will trot that out immediately because they're trained to say that, right? Now, the implication of that, does that mean that this other part here, also killing on the battlefield on religious principles, does that also belong to a historical past?
I think so.
So you say, well, there are no kṣatriyas today, so therefore this here no longer applies either.
Well, it is hard to apply it right now. I don't see myself, I don't see highly like Arjuna. I don't see any Kṣatriya like Arjuna.
So here it says the animal sacrifice gets a human life immediately, and the kṣatriyas killed in the battlefield also attain the heavenly planets. So in that sense, what you're saying here about this is that this is all this here is just for historical context, so you can understand the historical context in which Krishna is speaking and saying this to Arjuna. So you can understand what this means in that context, right? Now, here's the problem with that. You ready? Ready for the problem with that?
Well, I can say, hey, this is a historical thing that happened in the past. It doesn't mean it cannot happen. In order for that to happen, let's see how specifically these Kṣatriyas been trained, what principles they followed, how strict they were to be that powerful. Now, we are in Kali Yuga. Basically, there's a complete disruption in many principles, religious principles, what to speak of following the religious principles. Do we have any human being as much like example Arjuna as Arjuna right now? People are trying.
Well,
but are they as powerful as Arjuna? I don't think so. Because if they were as powerful as Arjuna, highly principled man, where we are right now...
But they don't have to be as powerful as Arjuna.
Well, they don't have to be as powerful as Arjuna, let's say that. However, they have to be strictly following the principles, because if you follow your principles as it is, and you are strict at it, your power itself will be there. Not as much as Arjuna, but you will be powerful enough. But do we have that now? No, we don't. Because we have some people, of course, they have Kṣatriya nature, and, we are all swayed here and there by material nature, At level, maybe some people have a better strength of certain things, but as powerful, or maybe a bit less powerful than Arjuna. I don't think so, because if there was that Kṣatriya right now, these Swamis wouldn't be where they are. They wouldn't be making such a destruction of the religious principles, such a mockery of Bhagavad-gita. They wouldn't be doing that, because they will be making these people accountable for what they done, and how they directing themselves, and how they're insulting the song of Krishna, the Gita.
Okay.
That is what I think, the angle that I think. So.
Okay, so what you're saying then is that, it's possible to attain that, which means that Brahmanas doing animal sacrifice is also part of the future.
Could be part of the future. Yes, that can happen. But you know what? We are in Kali Yuga. And we have the 4 defects right now. And obviously people are...
I don't get what we're in Kali Yuga. I mean, what does that mean?
What do you think? Do you know what are the four things that we are defective as human beings in Kali Yuga?
No.
we prone to cheat.
Oh, those are the 4 defects of the conditioned soul.
Yeah.
They're not specific to human beings, although they characterize all human beings, nor are they specific to Kali Yuga.
Yeah, but that exists. But in Kali Yuga, it's worse because
Yeah,
people
they're
are
gonna be
way.
more prominent.
I mean, it's way more prominent and is way more powerful. All of these negative qualities to, to overtake a human being's intelligence and determination.
Okay, so I think that we should probably, given that we've been going for 55 minutes, wrap it up here. But no, it's a great discussion because we're going to have a discussion with Konteya, who's the author of several books that are widely condemned by ISKCON traditionalists who claim that he's undermining Srila Prabhupada, but are highly praised by, we might say, liberals within ISKCON because of his progressive approach. And that's what we're going to be examining. How do you go from the present situation to the ideal situation? Like, how do we re-establish Varnashram Dharma?
Yeah. I know there are some Kṣatriyas that sleep in Kṣatriyas. They just, besotted by material nature. How do we train them? How do we wake them up? How do we make them aware this is who you are as a Kṣatriya, this is what you're meant to be following, this is what are your roles, this is your duty,
Okay, let's just look at this one last thing, right? If we go into search here, and if we do a search for duty, kṣatriya, right?
Dun, dun, dun.
The number 1 hit is a class on Bhagavad-gita 231. I thought there was none, okay? It was this class. This is an incredible class, this one.
Aren't we in there? Aren't we doing that?
We're doing this class, yeah. But this class by Srila Prabhupada on this verse.
Yeah.
So sva-dharmam means the division, Kṣatriya division of the society. So the Kṣatriya has got a very difficult task to see. Kṣatriya means government, the governing division. So the governing division has got a very important duty to see that everyone is following his duty. The Brahmana is following his duty, a Kṣatriya is following his duty, Vaishya is following the duty, and Shudra, that is, government's duty is, just like in India nowadays, it has become a secular government. Secular government means impartial to any religious system. But the government should not be so callous that a religious principle let people do whatever he likes. No, the government cannot do so. You can say that you're Hindu, you execute your own system of religion. You're a Muslim, you can execute your system of religion. You're a Christian, you follow your system of religion. You're a Buddhist, you follow your system of religion. But the government cannot be callous that whatever they may follow or whatever they may not do, the government is neutral. No. Anyone, if he is professing himself that I'm Hindu, then it is the government's duty to see whether he is actually executing the Hindu principles of religion. That is secular state. If you are calling himself a Muslim, then it is government's duty to see that whether actually you are following the Muslim principles of religion. If you're a Christian, it is the government's duty to see that you are following the Christian principle of religion, not that callous you can do whatever you like. No. Kṣatriya's duty is to see. The king, government's duty is to see.
Yeah.
Similarly, if one is claiming that he is a Brahmana, it is the government's duty to see whether he is strictly following the Brahmana principles, shamodamas titiksha arjavam, whether he is strictly following how to become self-controlled, how to remain always pure, clean, shuchi. Brahman is another name of shuchi, always cleansed. Similarly, arjava, simplicity. Brahmana's life should be very simple.
Simple.
They should not imitate the Kṣatriyas and the Vaishyas and the Shudras. So this principle, whether one is actually following the Brahminical principle. So this is the Kṣatriya. And always prepared to fight. To see that everyone is acting nicely. Because if they're not acting nicely, and if I say, you're not acting nicely, you'll become angry.
Yeah, that is right. He's a spot on in this, If I tell someone like, hey, you're looking dirty, do you want to go and change? They get so offended, how dare you? And it's like, hey, I'm just pointing out something that is obvious in case you haven't realized. And I think I am a well-wisher that I'm letting you know.
Shout outs to Positivity. Thanks for tuning in. Some questions here. What would it mean to be a real Kṣatriya in this age and time? And then, to be a real Kṣatriya, he would need support of government as well. So perhaps within a small community, one can be a Kṣatriya, not in the general open society, perhaps.
That could be a possibility in a community that is nicely formed, where Varnashram is getting formed as Kṣatriya, making sure everyone is following their duties, is ideal. To the point that many communities form themselves in doing this, so there will be within that, there will be someone in the future that will be quite pure to bring a soul that is highly advanced as a Kṣatriya. So therefore, from the communities will be more a higher Kṣatriya that will oversee, like it says Kṣatriyas to see how is the community. So each community has their own Kṣatriyas, but who oversees all of these communities?
The emperor.
Yeah, exactly. In order for us, I don't know where I read it, but I read somewhere about a prediction. The real Kṣatriyas will start taking birth, not in the big cities, not in the big countries, in the places that are outside where for noble and very simple families. There is a prediction. The Kṣatriyas will be born.
My Tuna Twins.
Maybe
No, it
as
is
well.
100% My Tuna Twins.
So this is amazing. So then you question yourself, how come a real Kṣatriya, powerful brahmanas, will come from very humble families? Why? Because they're not contaminated. Their heart are more beautiful. They're more concentrated in the service. They're more in Krishna, meditating in Krishna. Their life is not as contaminated as people in the city. It's like the variety of entertainment where men are sexually attacked every second, every place they turn, they are sexually attacked. Women is just like so corrupted. They sexually attracting men and making a complete disarray of the whole system. There's a lot of things playing up. But in the countryside, what is out there, people are a bit more pure. They are more God-loving, God-fearing. So I can understand why this prediction comes, it will happen. I can see, in India specifically, where women are chaste, men are chaste as well, having children of such a high stature, higher souls taking birth is like incredible. And why can we not do that in small communities where they are following strictly their religious principles, and there is a Kṣatriya there overseeing and protecting them? There is a place of which demigod wouldn't want to come and take birth? They will love it, but purity is the force, and they will come. So let's aim at that.
So I would like to speak to this question.
Sure.
What would it mean to be a real Kṣatriya in this age and time? So for me, personally, when the mandates and the vaccine mandates and everything came down, and I could see that it was headed to a decisive, concluding kind of protest battle event. That was very clear to me even 2 years before it happened. So I was preparing for that. When it happened, it was like, okay, I have to go. So, I went and recruited other devotees and took them with me and led them in the protest there. And we wielded the astra, the weapon of the holy name, the Harinam. And we just chanted continually there. And it was a duty. Like I was watching a video that I shot when I was there, and I was recounting it the next day. Sevaka Vatsala Das and I went to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning. And then I woke up sometime later. I was freezing cold. I grabbed a hat and put it on my head. I was laying in my sleeping bag and went back to sleep. And then at 3 a.m., just after 3 a.m., someone ran through the Freedom Village yelling, "Hold the line, hold the line." So me and Sevaka jump up, and Sevaka says like, "Oh man, do we have to do anything?" And I say to him, "We are Kṣatriyas. We must go. Grab the conch." So he grabbed a conch shell. I grabbed a mridanga, put cartels around our necks, and then we headed out. And we went to the front lines where the police were clashing with protesters on the edge of the village and chanted Harinam. And so that's what it means to be a real Kṣatriya in this age and time, is
Being fearless.
being fearless. If you see something, you have to act on it. You don't have a choice about that. It's not like self-preservation is not a thing. It's not a thing. Some kind of ridiculous, like mindlessly destroying yourself is not a thing either. And the astra of this age is the Harinam. And that's not to say that that's the only thing that will be deployed in the future, because by deploying that, it will change everything. We don't even know in which way it will change. Is it going to be like humans versus robots? It might be that. It might not even be humans against humans. It might be humans against robots. It's most probably going to be that in terms of kinetic warfare. But at a certain point in the future, Navy SEALs will be chanting japa 16 rounds before jumping out of their Hercules or whatever, their C-130. And people will be driving Abrams main battle tanks listening to Ayendra kirtans. But for the time being, it's chanting Harinam. Wow, that is insightful. Weapons of current day Kṣatriya is Sankirtan. Yeah. Sangopangastra Parshadam. Okay, we're going to leave it there. Thank you for tuning in. There's a lot of ways you could have spent your attention this evening, or today if you're watching it in the archive, and we appreciate that you chose to spend it with us examining Bhagavad-gita 231. Let's do the verse again to finish, eh? Okay. Sva-dharmam api cāvekṣya na vikampitum arhasi dharmyād cṛeyo nyat dharmyād yuddhāt śreyaḥ dharmyād yuddhāc śreyo nyat kṣatriyasya na vidyate.
Considering your specific duty as a kṣatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation.
Param vidyate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Total world victory of Hare Krishna.
Haribol.